Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Mindful Dancers channel. My name is Karen, and for today's video we are going to be discussing Asteya, or non-stealing. So grab a cup of coffee, pen and paper if you want to take notes, and let's get started. Alright, so like all of our videos, all of these discussion videos, it's going to be the same format. So we're going to be discussing what Asteya is and how we apply it into our dance lives. Very straightforward. So first let's talk about what is non-stealing? What is Asteya? We all know that we're not supposed to take anything like possessions or anything like that, but it's actually more than that. So Asteya is the principle of non-stealing, like I just said. It involves not taking anything which is not freely given to you. So that not only applies to possessions, like physical possessions, like if you take someone's iPad or something like that. I don't know if anybody uses iPads in this day and age, but it can also be applied to stealing one's time, one's energy, and other types of resources. So through this practice of Asteya, we're cultivating a sense of contentment and gratitude, but we're also avoiding the temptation to take more than what is necessary or what is appropriate. So we're just going to go over a couple details of what Asteya is. So this involves, can't speak today, but this involves developing a sense of self-awareness and reflection. So that means just being mindful of your own behaviors and motivations, but it involves the practice of Satya. So if you remember our discussion of Satya, again, I have a script in front of me, so not all of this is memorized, so I apologize in advance, but it involves the practice of Satya, or truthfulness. So it's that purpose of being honest with ourselves. And like I said, all of these yamas are tied together, which is pretty cool. But this practice of Asteya is very challenging, especially in today's society. When they tell us that we are supposed to want more, we're supposed to take more and all this stuff. So it's finding that right balance of being content and having enough. So like I just said, we're cultivating a sense of contentment and gratitude in all aspects of our life. So that means we're recognizing and appreciating what we already have rather than focusing on what we lack or what we want. We're also recognizing that our own well-being is interconnected with the well-being of others, and that taking from others without anybody's consent ultimately harms ourselves as well. Practice of ahimsa, non-violence. Again, everything is interconnecting, which is really cool. So how can we apply this into practical terms? Well, number one, making conscious choices about how we spend our time and our energy and our attention. So taking the time to ask yourself, am I taking on more than I should, or should I pull back a bit? Maybe this is whatever you're doing, maybe this is all I can do right now, and really just being honest in if you're willing to take on more opportunities and so forth. Number two can also be setting just clear boundaries. Again, that comes from, stealing people's time. So we're respecting that person's time and energy and not taking from them all of their time, or what to that extent. Number 3 is to avoid taking on more harm than we can handle, especially with us as dance teachers. This is not a high-paying field, so obviously we're going to be taking on a lot more teaching opportunities, trainings, whatever, and then just being really mindful of how that can take a toll on our mental health. So really just take time to ask yourself, can I handle more, or do I need to pull back? Again, Satya, being honest with yourself here. Number 4 is being mindful of our own desires and impulses. Like I said, society has encouraged us to take and take and take and take and take and take, which then can harm ourselves as well as others. So we're just taking, and can eventually lead to harm. So just being mindful of what we desire most and how that can be applied into this practice. The number 5 is avoiding taking more than what is necessary or what is appropriate. So that could be just possessions. I mean, we've already discussed that already. But also just taking on more opportunities than what is deemed necessary and how you are feeling in this moment. So again, another option here. So that just talks a little bit about ourselves, but interacting with others. So just being respectful of others' time, energy, and attention, and avoiding behaviors that harm others. So again, it's that practice of ahimsa that's coming in. So when we steal from other people, that's going to cause harm to them, and so forth. Again, ahimsa, satya, asteya, all interconnected. And when we get on to I think there's 2 more yamas left. So when we get into the last 2, you can see how it's all interconnected, and it's really, really cool. So just a quick little review here. Asteya is about cultivating a sense of contentment, gratitude, and respect for ourselves and others. That's really just the main key out of this whole thing. So if you didn't understand much of what I'm talking about here, that little thing will be the one takeaway that I hope that you get out of this, is that it's about just cultivating just a sense of contentment, gratitude, and respect for others. So that is just a little bit about Asteya. So now we are going to go into the application of this practice, and especially into the dance life, because this is Mindful Dancers. So mainly talking to the dancers and dance teachers out there, but this can also be for everybody as well. So for teachers in particular, we're going to be touching a little bit on just stealing, how we could steal from ourselves and how that applies. And you could be doing this intentionally or not intentionally. So just to be aware of that. So the first example of how we can steal from ourselves is just not taking opportunities to better improve our teaching. So if there's like a specific type of training or education and you don't take that opportunity, that could be an example of stealing from ourselves, because we are not taking those opportunities to better ourselves, which will in turn help us to reach out to our students, whatever ages we have, and so forth. With that being said, though, another way we can steal from ourselves is not only missing opportunities, but you can also have the opposite effect and take on too many. So taking on more than we can handle. If you're taking like this little training and then this little training and this and that and this and that, that is stealing from ourselves in a way where it's draining our energy and it's draining our time. That is stealing from our mental and spiritual health in a way, or maybe your physical health, depending on how you are feeling. So again, it's finding that sense of balance on taking appropriate opportunities that can help you, but not taking on so much that it starts to become a physical drain and a mental drain. Okay, so again, it's finding just enough to find that sense of gratitude and that sense of contentment and that respect for yourself. So that is just a couple examples of how you could steal from yourself personally. Now, moving into stealing from others, especially when it comes to the dance classroom in general. So one example could be just not paying attention to your students or discounting them. So if like a student comes up to you with, you know, some type of problem, or if there's one, like a couple dancers that you're just not paying attention to because you're busy focusing on these like people over here, that is again stealing from their experience and just stealing from their chance to be better, that type of thing. So just being aware of that, and again, asking yourself, how can I, you know, make this better for the students, that type of thing. The last thing would be for making experiences about ourselves instead of the students. So let's say that you are in a classroom and you're coming up with choreography that maybe you like, that might look good to you, but it is very complicated for the students to get and to understand, that type of thing. Again, we're making it challenging for the students because we want them to grow, but we put too much challenge in that it's really hard for the students to understand. So that could be one example of how we are stealing from the students' energy. So making our experience maybe about ourselves and what we think looks good rather than from the students and what we're hoping for them to get and to take from that experience. I hope that makes sense. And these same tips can be applied to students as well. So in a student's perspective, how you could steal from yourselves, like I said earlier, not taking opportunities to better improve your dancing. So whether that's taking a summer intensive or whatnot, especially if you want to move up into the professional world, maybe, or it doesn't have to be professional dancing, maybe it could be like Broadway or something, you know? So not taking those opportunities, again, is stealing from yourself, from helping you to grow. Whereas in the opposite effect, if you're taking on too many intensives, that is going to drain you physically, that's going to drain you mentally, and it's going to cause injury to your body. That is the opposite effect. So again, you're trying to find that balance of taking on more opportunities, but also being careful not to take too many that you're going to cause violence, self-harm to yourself. Stealing from others, you not paying attention to your peers, or discounting them. So making this like all about you instead of your peers, blah, 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 that type of thing. So those are just a few examples here. So in conclusion to this discussion here, the whole point of Asteya, so going back to that principal concept, if you didn't take anything from this video, take this specifically because this is the most important part. Asteya is about cultivating a sense of contentment, gratitude, and respect for ourselves and others. That is the key factor that I would like you to take away from this whole video, because it's exceptionally important, especially when it comes to taking care of yourselves and to taking care of others, and how you could better improve the life of dancers and teachers, how to improve your students' life as well. And then the last point I would like to make is to just be mindful of your actions and notice when and how you steal from others through time, attention, maybe you're one-upping the other, power, confidence, and not being able to celebrate others' success. So I probably should have put that in here, but circling back, one other example would be if you're a dancer and you've auditioned for like a part in the Nutcracker or something, and the one girl got Clara, but you didn't, or you got just like the understudy or something, and you're so frustrated that you just don't want to, celebrate this person's success for getting Clara or something. So that is an example of, stealing somebody's energy, stealing somebody's success, their little thing in the spotlight, because maybe you just weren't happy in getting what you want. So again, it's finding that sense of contentment. So one little example I just wanted to pop up in there. And then overall, I challenge you throughout this week to notice what is prompting you to steal someone's time, energy, behavior, all that type of stuff. So take this time to just meditate and really think about it. Actually, a mantra is I am enough. So if you did our yoga practice in the last video, our mantra was I am enough. So take a moment to meditate on that little mantra, and maybe you'd like to journal down anything that comes up for you. So that is our discussion for Asteya. This was a bit of a shorter video today, but hopefully that made sense. And I'm gonna leave the discussion up to you guys. If you have any questions, comments, any feedback, let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I also have an Instagram and a TikTok and a Facebook account. You can also follow me on there as well. And for our next video, we're gonna be moving into our next, which is Brahmacharya. I hope I am saying that right. My Sanskrit's really bad. But we're gonna be moving into that yoga practice for this week as well. So stay tuned for that. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.